people are looking at Melissa's art, I'd really hope that they're looking at that big date, 2048, and really thinking about what that means and how we're going to get there, and then starting to break down the rest of the map, which talks about a bleached reef and living coral and how that's playing out into the future as well, and what actions we're taking now to either further damage, in this case, the reef, or to save it.
Hello, I'm Melissa Spratt and I'm a textile sculpture-based artist, and we've been collaborating on an artwork for the Gold Coast Futures Forum. I suppose there's 3 different things happening all at once with this work. First and foremost, we're talking about climate change, and we want people to open discussion about how we can manage and work towards a greener future. Lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Come on in.
Thank you. Oh wow. I think art plays a really important role in creating new narratives around climate change, and I think it's that conversation that we're having as a community that's really important.
That then led us to think about, well, what materials might we use? How can we make them be a sustainable choice? So we worked together, Tristan and I, on getting the colour schemes from a supplier that I know, and it's an artist who lives on Mount Tamborine called Beck Anderson.
Cochineal bugs are kind of interesting. They're actually insects that grow and live on the prickly pear. And I'm just going to sprinkle my bugs on, and you can see them just letting a little bit of colour out.
I love this colour so much.
The philosophy behind this collaborative work has been found, I suppose, from that original project, which was part of the Sea Change Sand Tracks project that Beck and Tristan worked on for the Commonwealth Games.
This kind of mapping is all about trying to just tease and play and test and experiment, and that's the messiness that's needed to deal with the complexity of all of these wicked problems. In the process of people mapping together, there is an opportunity for a whole bunch of different disciplines, a kind of a holistic view, and that's the messiness that's needed to deal with the complexity of all of these wicked problems.
And then the next sort of section, I suppose, is also challenging how textiles is seen within an art gallery. Is it perceived to be something of fine art, or do people see it as more of a woman's craft? So sort of challenging that as well, and doing it with a protest art like this is sort of really powerful.
How dare you pretend that this can be sold with just business as usual and some technical solutions?
Clearly what we're doing is not working, so being able to look at things from another perspective is sort of where the crux of this artwork has come from.
You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal.
The choices around why this is such a bright and sort of tactile artwork is because we wanted to draw in the viewer, make them have a closer look, get involved with it, and maybe view things from a different perspective.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Like, depressed is a strong word, but like there's a lot of shit going on, excuse my language, but that feels so out of your reach to be able to change. And, I think that's so powerful what Greta did. My work is often very tactile, and I have no problem with people going up and touching it and getting sort of involved in it, which I suppose is a parallel to getting people involved with climate change action. We're not all from the same walk of life, and we're not all going to have the same experience. But I suppose, we're all affected by this one massive issue. So in order to get resolution, I think banding together in something like a climate strike is super important. Going to something like a rally or something with a lot of people, I tend to get a bit overwhelmed with that whole situation, and because of the sensitive nature of the topic and I suppose how emotionally reactive it can be, I sort of chose to work in the studio that day, but I definitely was there in spirit and working on this piece. A lot of the time I do try and shield myself from the harshness of what's going on, because it can get a bit upsetting and it can sort of bog you down, and you need to have a level of get up and go in order to be able to do this kind of stuff and create work that's meaningful. My practice for some years has always been revolving around self-identity, selfhood, the act of becoming or belonging somewhere. So it's been great to be able to navigate through this project that's focusing on climate change and how we're all becoming more highly sensitive in a way that we might not have foreseen, because our society is being shielded by maybe not fully understanding climate change or being allowed to or not wanting to. And how we combat that is sort of up to us, and how we band together as a community.